made it to our hostel in Ha Giang City. That was literally the most hellish journey for me. I really should have remembered to take a travel sickness tablet because the roads were horrific, and that was the most travel sick that I've ever felt in my whole life. Luckily we stopped like halfway in, so I did manage to grab them out of my bag because they were actually in the storage compartments under the bus. But wow, I can't tell you how sick I felt. Otherwise it would have been like a really comfortable journey. It was really fine apart from the sickness, and then once I had the tablet, like, I settled down. But I was planning on doing so much editing, but no, I couldn't do it. Anyway, we're here. I'll show you around. First time I've stayed in a proper hostel, so this is an entire bed to myself, and then Alex is above me. And the bus only took 4 or 5 hours. It was a lot quicker than what we were expecting, so it's not too bad. So this is my little room, and then upstairs is Alex's. He gets a fan, which I'm a bit jealous of because it's really hot here. Compared to Sapa, it's so hot. And then there's a little cafe just here, there, and then a cute little balcony terrace thing, I think. Looks quite nice. We're finally having dinner. Alex has got a bolognese pizza. That looks unreal. We also got, as part of like the combo meal deal thing, we got a tofu papaya salad. I got a falafel burger with chips. Those French fries look so good. Lime soda and a passion fruit soda. Good morning, it is Ha Giang Loop day 1, and already got 0 sleep. I don't know how people sleep in these hostels. Everyone's just making noise constantly. I don't sleep well as it is, to be honest. I wake up at every little bit of noise, so yeah, already low on sleep. But today we are starting the day by going for breakfast with our guide, which is a really interesting start. So we had to be up early, and then we're looking at starting the ride at 8:30, I think. So breakfast beforehand, and then jumping on the bikes, I think. So let's see what the Ha Giang Loop brings. Let me tell you, it was a very nervy start on the back of the bike, considering I've not ever stepped within 1 metre of a motorbike before, let alone sat on the back of one. We took a quick drive through the city to our breakfast stop, sticky rice for me, and then it was time to set off on the loop for real. We have made it to our first viewpoint. It was actually a bit misty this morning, but anyway, it did start to clear up a little as we continued on to our first stop, which required a pretty steep trek to a stunning waterfall. We had some time here to swim and enjoy the water. It was a pretty tough climb back up, and we got back on the bikes to the next viewpoint, which had a swing. It was back on the bikes for a bit longer this time, as we made it to a local town for lunch. Lunch was buffet style with lots of different traditional Vietnamese dishes. The tofu dish was mostly for me, being the non-meat eater, and it was actually very good, to be fair. Then it was straight back on the bikes. We took a quick stop to admire this view, and then we continued on to our next stop, the Stone Desert, which is a super cool mountain formation with a lot less vegetation growing on it, hence why it's called the Stone Desert. Vertigo really kicked in here though, so I left the boys to climb the peak, and I just admired the view from a less precarious position. Next we took a stop at the Ha Giang King's Palace. This was actually not on the itinerary, but Dan, my easy rider, and our tour guide said we should go, which is one of the best things about going in a small group. We could very easily go off the beaten track. Ha Giang is an ethnic group of people in northern Vietnam, and this was the home of their king, who actually was essentially a mafia lord who made a lot of money selling drugs and weapons. Then for the final time today, we hopped back on the bikes and rode into the sunset. Dinner again was a buffet style, but this time it was a hot pot. Then after dinner we went to a bar just off the main square and watched some Ha Giang girls do some traditional dancing, and then a young boy play a traditional instrument. They then started doing the traditional Ha Giang welcoming dance, which I joined in with Dan, and then I finished the night doing the Macarena with some Aussies. It is now day 2 of the Ha Giang Loop, and today we've got a really busy day planned. So it's a 7:30 start, we're going for breakfast, and then jumping on the bus. Breakfast was a quick banh mi and some peanut cake things, which were actually so good. We started with a short drive to our first stop, which had the most incredible views of the road and valley below. This is Dan.
Hello.
My easy rider and our guide.
Hello guys. Emily told me to introduce myself. You can call me Dan, and currently I'm a local tour guide here, and I'm accompanying Emily on the Ha Giang Loop.
We're just about to set off on a hike at our first stop for the day. Is it going to be a tough hike?
Absolutely.
Great, that's what I want.
Try to get to the end, okay?
Yeah, I will. I'll try. Followed the path all the way to the cliff edge, and this was the view. Probably the best view of the trip. You can actually see the mountains of China in the distance here. We were right up on the border, and then we basically hiked the whole way around the cliff face, where the bikes were then waiting for us, ready to jump on and head to the homestay for an early check-in. This place was honestly beautiful. The best place we've stayed in so far, apart from the baby cockroach we had in the bathroom. But anyway, the view from the room was to die for. We got back on the bikes to our lunch stop, which was another Vietnamese buffet and more tofu for me. Then it was back on the bikes again to our next stop of the day, where we headed into the canyon down by the river and got on a barge which took us to a pebble beach where we could swim, although Alex and I hadn't brought any swim clothes with us, which was a bit of a shame, but I had an explore anyway. We then headed back, and Alex and I left the rest of the group as we were doing the 3-night tour and the others were doing the 2-night tour. And then the 4 of us went to Mio Vac Sinkhole, which is so off the beaten track. It's one of the few places completely untouched by tourism. It was only discovered a couple of years ago, and we were the only ones there. We watched the sunset here too. Then we hopped back on the bikes to our homestay for dinner and lots of happy water. Welcome to day 3 of the Ha Giang Loop. And I think today was my favourite day so far, even though I started the day not in the best of moods, just because I was so tired. We stopped for a quick breakfast, then headed to a local market. This morning's drive to our first stop was honestly my favourite drive of the whole trip. It was proper open road, and the roads were smooth, and the views were to die for. We drove down to a river and then got on a bamboo raft, where we went down the river and then stopped for a swim. We went back up the river and then had a quick packed lunch by the side of the water. Then we got back on the bikes and took a shortcut route that a local showed us and that our easy riders had never taken before. And let me tell you, this route was for the fearless. There were so many tight, steep bends, and it was honestly just a path. There was no road, and it wasn't the smoothest of paths either. But the reward at the top were the best views of the whole trip. We also went through a village, and the children who were playing came to see us, and it was just such a unique experience, and one that not even our easy riders had experienced before, which I just think is so cool. We continued on, and the shortcut had shaved like an hour off the journey, so when we stopped at the next viewpoint, we had plenty of time to chill. We ended up playing a few different games, and I found out that I'm surprisingly good at Connect 5, which is very similar to Connect 4 but on a board, and the aim is to get 5 in a row. I'm on the ropes. Then we took our final ride of the day to our homestay for the evening, and we got another room with a beautiful view. I have to say, that is the best thing about doing this trip with Pi Adventure. The accommodation has been unreal. The homestay was in such a beautiful location. Then we headed out with Dan on a walk around the village before having dinner at our homestay, and we had a very chilled last night playing cards together. This is day 4 and our last day on the Ha Giang Loop. We had breakfast at the homestay this morning, then it was straight on the bikes to start making our way back to Ha Giang City. The road was not the best for a section of this journey, which made it quite uncomfortable, but again, the views made it all worthwhile. At the viewpoint, the views were unreal. We also saw this cute bug just roaming around. Then we biked to our next stop, which was the weaving village, and we got to see the traditional process of how they turn plants into all sorts of material items. And there was a lady there who was 95 and has done it every day since she was a teenager. We got back on the bikes and headed straight to our lunch spot, and thankfully we missed the crowds because as we were leaving, so many tour groups were arriving. We took a short ride to the next viewpoint stop where there was literally no one, and none of the other tours stopped, so we sat and chilled for a while, taking in the surroundings. Then it was on to our final proper stop of the whole trip, a waterfall that was literally just off the side of the road. Alex went for a swim here, and then we had one more viewpoint stop, and then a stop at a really cute cafe place, which must be the last stop that all the tours do, because it felt like literally everyone was there. And then we had our very final ride on the loop back to the city. And we we have arrived back in Ha Giang after the most amazing 4 days. We have really seen like so much of the like untouched areas of northern Vietnam, and the scenery is absolutely beautiful. So we just got back to our homestay where we started the tour and sorted all of our bags out, ready to get on a bus at 7 p.m. to Cat Bar. We're going straight from here to Cat Bar. We've just come out for some food now and just time to chill before getting on what will be probably like a 10-hour sleeper bus. So we'll see you in Cat Bar.